Let's head straight into the draft. Enemy locks in Julian, and of course, we respond with Minsitthar, the perfect counter. But this guy really thought picking Argus was the answer. Now final draft is locked and here's the enemy's lineup. But before that, even if you're playing solo, try to communicate with your teammates, especially to your roamer, as this gives you an advantage before the game even starts. By the way, I heard your feedback in the comments. Don't worry, this time I'll only make a few cuts so you can clearly see how I lane, rotate, and make decisions throughout the match. At this point, I reminded Natalia of the plan since I saw her starting on the bottom side. This could ruin our plan to dominate in the early. And thankfully, she began rotating in the top lane and understood the assignment. And that turned out to be his best decision, because this is where the enemy's nightmare officially begins. And looks like one of my teammates recognized me. So shout out to this guy. And yes, it's legit, it's checkmate. Now the target has arrived, completely unaware we were already in position. This highlights how important communication is. Natalia could have pressured the gold lane or disrupted the enemy jungler, which are good move by the way, but always remember to choose the best move. It's important that your team knows who to punish and is vulnerable in the early stages of the game, so you can create a strong advantage. And as you can see, I let Natalia know we're taking down Argus once again. That's why she's advancing through the bush, already setting up for an ambush. Then I landed the hook on Argus and took him down for the second time, but the third time was different. Argus waited for his teammates and cleverly took a different path. So in response, I played it very carefully. Natalia had also been revealed by Kadita, which made things riskier. I also want to commend our mage for rotating to the top lane. That made a big difference. And I didn't miss the opportunity to land my hook as Argus was caught by Nana's Molina. Argus was taken down for the third time thanks to a clean setup with Nana. But what really stood out here was Natalia's smart play. Instead of rushing in and joining the fight with us, she held her position on the right side, anticipating a possible gank. Sure enough, Julian showed up and his plan to gank was completely disrupted before it could even start. Julian timed his skill 2 perfectly, using it at just the right moment to avoid our setup and create space for himself. And Edith did an equally impressive job. She used Flicker with perfect timing to escape just when we thought we had her cornered. So instead of forcing a risky fight, I focused on cutting the minion waves to quickly reach level 4. But Julian made the mistake of targeting me while I was doing that, and that gave me exactly what I needed. As soon as I hit level 4, everything shifted. With my ultimate now available, we turned the fight around and managed to take them down. After taking them down, I wasted no time, destroyed their tower and immediately rotated to the gold lane to keep the pressure going. And this is how I rotate, by the way. It's all about staying unpredictable. I make sure the enemies have no idea that I'm already on the other side of the map. To do that, I walk carefully and stop at bushes one by one, avoiding open areas where I might get spotted. While moving, I constantly monitor the minimap to see where the enemies are positioned. If I notice a shift or an opportunity, I immediately change my path to find a better position, whether it's for a flank, a dive, or a safe retreat. This kind of rotation gives you the element of surprise and lets you make smarter plays without taking unnecessary risks. Now, since the enemies had no idea we had already rotated to the bottom lane, the best move was to keep it that way, maintain the element of surprise. I knew they'd come through this exact path to defend their gold lane, and it was all about reading their next move and setting up ahead of time to create a play like this. Julian was lucky. Once again, he managed to slip away at the last second, but there wasn't much he could do this time. We had already surrounded him from all angles, cutting off every possible escape route. At this point, their gold laner is already ranting because it's barely 3 minutes into the game, and their Argus is sitting at a 0.5 KDA. After clearing the mid lane, I rotated back to the top lane to regain control and apply pressure. But this is where things took a turn because both Natalia and I got taken down. I had a miscalculations and I tried to outplay Julian by baiting his skills. I even pretended to walk into the bush, then immediately pulled back, and I repeated the trick twice, expecting him to flinch, but to his credit, he stayed calm and didn't take the bait. But Natalia made a blunder and he went straight into the bush, and just like I predicted, she got instantly deleted. I'm also a Julian main, so I knew what could possibly happen. That's why you'll see me here maintaining a safe distance, and my goal was simple. Don't let this Julian recall. I knew our Granger was already on his way, but here's what I missed. I assumed Argus had already recalled back to base. Turns out, he was actually just lurking silently in the bush, and that really caught me off guard. Not gonna lie, it was out of my calculations, and that's exactly how I got taken down. But it's fine because watch how Granger turns the fight around and take Julian and Argus down, and even manages to pull off a clean and cool escape. After respawning, the first thing I did was locate the enemy's positions, especially their jungler. By tracking him, I can predict his next move and position myself accordingly. This kind of map awareness is key if you want to stay one step ahead, and by the way, if you're looking for a solid counter to Julian, just pick Minsitthar. He's one of the best heroes to shut Julian down, and I highly recommend using Flicker with him as it lets you initiate quickly and catch Julian off guard, giving him no time to escape. Then I rotated back to the top lane, since the Lord is about to spawn on the bottom side. And just to be clear, my goal is not to glaze Mincy in this channel. I'm simply sharing how effective and underrated this hero really is, especially for solo players like me. And watch closely, because I'm about to show you how scary Mincy can be when used properly. I'm not forcing anyone to play him, I just want to share his gameplay and how to maximize his strengths in the current meta. And even if you're not a fan of using him, at the very least, this gives you insight on how to counter him, or what to expect when facing a good Mincy user. Sometimes, knowing how a hero works is the best way to avoid getting punished or defeated. Now let's get back to the game, and as you can see, Julian is really struggling here. And yes, Mincy may lack mobility, but that's not a problem if you know how to play around positioning and timing. If you've been watching closely, you'll notice that my playstyle balances both safety and aggression. I don't recklessly face check bushes. Instead, I use my hook to scout and check for threats. And always pay attention to the minimap and look for isolated targets you can punish, just like this Argus right here. But of course, don't let your guard down. Proceed with caution, especially in the late game. The enemy has late game insurance as they got Hanabi, and they've also got a strong pick-off potential with Khaleed on their side. So if you really want to secure the win, you have to stay disciplined. Don't throw your lead, play smart, keep control, and always think ahead. By the way, I really salute players like this. You can tell he's doing his best to win and contribute to the team, and I respect that. It was also a smart move to segue when his team couldn't keep up in the team fight, and honestly, a part of me wants to see players like that win, the ones who don't give up, who keep trying despite being behind. But at the same time, I'm here to show you how to end the game the right way, with discipline, patience, and precision. Right now, I'm not rushing. I'm waiting quietly, constantly scanning for that perfect opening to make a solid setup play. Also, Whenever I'm matched against an Argus, I always build Winter Crown. It's one of the most important counter items. It lets me survive his ultimate burst and flip the duel in my favor. So when I finally spotted the right moment, I didn't hesitate. I dove straight in with full confidence. And now, just watch how Granger follows through, picking them off one by one. This is how you clean up in the late game, with patience, good itemization, and sharp execution.